Hey, I'm Jade. I'm a former representative advocate at SCIA turned public servant. I spend a lot of time on TikTok and I probably post way too many videos of my guide dog on TikTok.
Hi, my name's Laura and I spend too much time doom scrolling on social media.
And my name is Susan and I wake up to the internet, I fall asleep to the internet. Some people may say that that's an issue, but I'm here now talking about the internet on a podcast that's streamed on the internet. So here we are, and we are going to be continuing the train on Reddit. This is from a Reddit thread from a couple of years ago. Am I the arsehole for using a disabled stool? Here we go. Yesterday, my best friend, 25 male, and I, 25 male, went to the mall after going to eat. At the Target attached to the mall, I really had to go to the bathroom. I went in there and there were two stalls and the only disabled stall was available. I went in so I could do what needed to be done. I stepped out of the stall only for somebody with crutches to tell me I was being really inconsiderate and rude for using a disabled stall when I clearly wasn't disabled. I hate confrontation and have terrible social anxiety, so I just apologized and went to wash my hands. The thing is that I am disabled. Okay, well, not in the eyes of the Social Security Administration, but they're assholes. They've denied me 3 times. I have both Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, which it's rare to have both, so yeehaw for me. And well, technically I have ulcerative pouchitis. I hope I said that right. When I was 21, I lost my large intestine to ulcerative colitis, and I went through multiple surgeries to create what is a J pouch, which is a faux colon from the end of my small intestine, hence where the pouchitis comes from. I'm learning new things all over the place because I'm reading this for the first time. Ulcerative colitis and ulcerative pouchitis are the same thing, just based on different structures. And because of all those shenanigans, I generally go to the bathroom between 10 and 15 times a day. And TMI, but relevant, I haven't had a solid bowel movement in 15 years. So when I go, I have to go. I normally don't take the disabled stall unless it's the only one available, which in this case it was. The person with the crutches came in after I was already in it, and the other stall was still occupied. So am I the arsehole for using the disabled stall when it was the only one available? Anyone?
I believe this is one that I submitted, Susan.
Yeah.
And my belief is no, he isn't the arsehole, because I think we have hidden disabilities and hidden medical issues. And the way that I kind of view it is that stall is, you know, it is important for people that need mobility aids, but it also, I think, God forbid that you have to do something like a catheter change. Those normal stalls aren't big enough to do that. And if he's only using it as an emergency type thing, he doesn't usually do it. I don't really see a problem with it. And I know that as a person with disability, I have been found guilty of judging people that don't look like they have a disability or a need for that toilet using that toilet. So, yeah, trying to be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah, as Jade said, there's a lot of people that have hidden disabilities, like a few people that I work with and support. They have like incomplete paraplegia or quadriplegia. So they're walking and their mobility is a bit impaired, and just looking at them, you wouldn't realise that they have issues with their bladder or their bowel, so they have to self-catheterize. Or, you know, it might be someone that needs a bit more space because they might need the handrails to get on and off the toilet, so you shouldn't assume. And there's also, I guess, people that have a temporary disability. They've broken a leg or something like that. You can't just do a blanket. You can't have a blanket understanding to say that, oh no, these stores are specifically for people that look disabled, because everyone with a disability experiences it differently.
All 3 of us have disabilities that are very apparent, right? Like physically apparent. So I'm in a wheelchair, Jade, visual impairment, and Laura, you've got like, actually, is it like, it's just like the walking is a bit, yeah?
Yeah. So I've got cerebral palsy and I wear AFOs.
Yeah. So we've all got something that makes our disabilities physically apparent, right? Do you two use just regular stalls, or because I will do some gymnastics if I absolutely have to and go into like one of those ambulant toilets and just like do whatever needs to be done. But do you guys use the regular stalls or do you go into the accessible bathrooms?
For me, it really depends on the situation. If I am out with someone, I will get them to walk me to the bathroom and I will leave Kira with them and I will go use the normal toilet. But if I have Kira, I don't know if you guys have ever had to shove a 30-kilo Labrador and yourself into a normal-sized toilet stall, but it is not pleasant. So if I absolutely need to, if there's no other option and I do have the dog, just so it's a little bit more comfortable for me and the dog, because I don't think the dog particularly wants to be that close to me while I'm doing what needs to be done, you know? There are some things that a girl likes to do by herself without having a set of big brown eyes staring at her. So I can see Susan laughing really hard there. Yes, sometimes I will use the accessible toilet if it is my only option.
Yeah, generally I just use the standard bathrooms unless it's a case like this person on the Reddit thread where the other two stalls, you know, are taken and there's a lineup, then I would go into the ambulant bathroom. Otherwise, if somewhere when you're going out to a restaurant or somewhere like that, the bathrooms would be upstairs and then the disability toilet would be downstairs. So in that case, I would use that bathroom because it's more accessible than going up and down flights of stairs or having to go outside or something like that.
Do you two need rails when you use the bathroom? Like I need rails. Like I need to grip onto things when I'm using the bathroom because it's like doing multiple things all at the same time. Do you guys need rails, anything like that?
Generally not. Sometimes if I'm really tired or sore, I'll use a handrail just as a backup, but generally I don't need them.
I don't need the rails, but I find them to be like a useful guide in the sense of like if I'm in that big area and, you know, hopefully my dog doesn't know what a toilet looks like. I really hope that she doesn't watch me go to the toilet. But you know, sometimes I find those rails to be like a helpful little guide if I'm trying to find the toilet paper or the toilet itself. But, you know, generally, as I said, I don't particularly like using the accessible toilet. There have even been times where I have shoved the dog in the little stall with me because I didn't want to use the accessible toilet. I was like, no, I'm not disabled. And then like clearly trying to shove a 30-kilo Labrador into this stall with me. So, you know, yeah.
I mean, yeah, this person is not the arsehole. I think what this really does address, though, is the distinct lack of disabled bathrooms that are available at any given moment. So, like, for me, when I say that I can use an ambulant toilet, it's within certain boundaries. So if there are no railings for some reason, if they've been ripped off because it's, you know, public toilets and that has happened before, I can't use it. I really do need the grab rails, and not necessarily the space. What it really does highlight over and over again is how little it is considered for accessible bathrooms, not just city planning, building planning, everything, because and we've all been there, I guess, where you've gone to like, maybe you've gone to use the accessible bathroom first and, you know, it's occupied and you're like, oh. And for me, I'm like, where do I go now? Because this is the only one. And recently I went into a shopping center where they time the opening and closing of accessible bathrooms in that shopping center, but all the other regular stalls were freely available. And when I went to have to use it, I had to press the button to call security to allow me to use the bathroom. And then when I called security, it was like, this line is busy. I'm like, of course it is.
Another thing I noticed as well is when businesses use the disabled bathrooms as a storage room. I don't know if that's happened to you, Susan.
They love that. They love using it as a cleaning closet, hey?
That's terrible. And speaking of a lack of accessible toilets, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent and say that there's also a lack of accessible parking. There's more pram parking, more mums with prams parking than there is accessible parking. And 9 times out of 10, I find that the pram parking is closer to the door than the accessible parking.
Yeah, I just park there for the simple principle of the fact.
Yeah, so do I. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna. I don't want me and my dog to get hit by a car. I'm gonna park where I need to park.
So I can't park in those car parks because I have to swing out a huge. Well, it's not a huge, but a wheelchair. I've got to have enough space to swing that wheelchair out of my car. But God, I really wish I could just like park there in that mums and whatever car park. And sometimes there are some shopping centres where I've noticed it's almost like an entire floor of just accessible car parks. But again, like the bathroom situation, it comes back down to I don't understand what their rationale is when it comes to, percentages of how many people use those bathrooms. But in that same shopping centre where they were gatekeeping the entryway to that bathroom, in another section that on another level, when you open the sliding door to go into the accessible bathroom, it also opens the accessible door into the parents' room. So,
gosh.
Yeah, so it's directly connected to the parents' room. And there have been times where I've opened it up. And for people who don't understand the parents' room, who don't live in Australia, they have smaller toilets for children. They've got places to, but there's nothing there really, I think. We all don't have children here, for parents to actually go. So then it's directly connected to that stall. And an unpopular opinion I have is that I have seen in many times where I've opened up the door to the accessible bathroom, there's been a father and his children, where there's no other parent rooms, and they probably did not want to bring their children into the male toilets with them. So I kind of get that. But again, this kind of just goes again, it goes to there's not enough availability. There's not enough planning for it. And then, if a father is bringing their children into the accessible bathroom because they literally feel uncomfortable bringing their children into the male bathroom, and then there's no parent place available, that's also an issue. So, yeah, we're deeming this person not the arsehole. So what are the solutions here? Well, I mean, we've talked about it in depth. Well, I've talked about it in depth, and we've all talked about lack of availability. What other things do you reckon need to be done?
I think there needs to be more widespread education about what disability is, because I think, from my experience, the wider community just think people with disabilities are people with those very visible disabilities. I know when I used to wear glasses, people would ask me if I was training my guide dog because, God forbid, a person that is legally blind wears glasses. So I think that there needs to be more education in the community about what disability can look like, or what chronic health conditions could look like, because they need, people with chronic health conditions probably need the accessible bathrooms as much as, those people that need the railings.
Yeah, I think just think before you give the stink eye, because at any point, you may become disabled. So you may need that bathroom and you wouldn't want to be given the same experience.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for joining me again for another episode. And we better get off this recording now because you've got to go to work.
Yes, I do.